Some Champions League campaigns feel routine. Others still don't make sense. This is a ranking of the last 15, from least to most aura. Number 15, 2020. From the moment UEFA announced a sterile bubble in Lisbon, no fans, no home legs, no away goals, single-leg knockout ties played behind closed doors, the 2020 Champions League was cooked. Bayern won all 11 games. Lewandowski scored 15 goals. They demolished Barcelona 8-2 in a quarter-final that didn't feel like football. It felt like a public humiliation. Piqué said afterwards, "We have hit bottom." There were flickers. PSG were losing to Atalanta, a first-year Champions League club with 5 minutes left. Marquinhos equalised in the 90th minute. Then Choupo-Moting, a man who had spent 3 seasons at Stoke City, scored the winner in the 93rd. But Bayern proved impossible to beat. The final was decided by a Kingsley Coman header. Neymar was in tears at the final whistle. The trophy win was real, but felt hollow. Number 14, 2021. Tuchel took over Chelsea in January. By May, he'd won the Champions League. 9 clean sheets in the tournament. The system was so organised, it made the most expensive attacks in the world look ordinary. The route there had moments. A scrappy quarter-final against Porto, played in Seville of all places. COVID stripping the tie of any atmosphere or meaning. Then the semi-finals against Real Madrid, Zidane's side. European royalty. Chelsea drew 1-1 at the Bernabeu, then won 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Mount scored. Zidane's side looked ordinary. That alone said everything. Then the final. Guardiola left out his holding midfielder. Havertz exploited the space. Through, around Ederson, rolled home just before half-time. Mahrez nearly equalised in the final seconds. Chelsea held. Tuchel had beaten Guardiola 3 times in 4 months. The system had answered every question put to it. But no moment from this campaign lodged itself anywhere. You remember the result. You struggle to remember the feeling. Number 13, 2023. Haaland scored 12 Champions League goals in his first season with City. De Bruyne was at full force. The machine was running. Real Madrid were the defending champions, the side that had conjured 3 separate miracles the year before. The first leg at the Bernabeu finished 1-1. Competitive on paper. 2 brilliant long-range strikes, nothing settled. Then Madrid arrived at the Etihad for the second leg. Bernardo Silva scored twice inside the first 40 minutes. City won 4-0. Madrid had no answer. The final in Istanbul. De Bruyne went off injured after 36 minutes. Rodri struck in the 68th minute. Lukaku came off the bench with the game there to be taken and couldn't take it. Haaland, 12 goals in the tournament, was quiet in the final. Their best player left injured before the hour. City won the treble anyway. That's the whole story. Correct. Inevitable. Forgettable. Number 12, 2025. 14 years of Qatari investment. World record transfers. One final in 2020. Lost to Bayern. Semi-finals. Round of 16 exits. Semi-finals again. Going out without scoring a single goal across 180 minutes against Dortmund. Then Mbappe left for Madrid. Luis Enrique arrived, stripped the whole thing back and built a young collective pressing machine from scratch. They scraped through the league phase. Then Liverpool in the last 16, Aston Villa in the quarters, Arsenal in the semis. 3 English sides, gone. Then came the final against Inter. Desiree Doué, 19 years old, scored twice. 5-0, the biggest winning margin in Champions League final history. PSG waited 14 years for this night. It arrived exactly as ordered. Dominant, complete, unanswerable. But aura doesn't live in clean victories. It lives in doubt, in moments that have no rational explanation. Higher up this ranking, those moments start to appear. PSG 2025 had none. That's not a criticism. That's just what separates a great night from something the sport can't explain. Number 11. 2017. Something happened in the round of 16 that this campaign will always be remembered for, and it had nothing to do with the winners. Barcelona had lost 4-0 in Paris. No team in Champions League history had ever recovered from a 4-goal deficit. Luis Enrique said they could score 6. Almost no one believed him. At Camp Nou, Suarez headed in the first goal within 3 minutes. Then, deep into the first half, Kurzawa turned the ball into his own net to make it 2 at the break. Shortly after half-time, Messi converted a penalty to make it 3. Then Cavani scored an away goal in the 62nd minute. Barcelona now needed 3 more in under half an hour. Neymar curled a free kick into the top corner with 2 minutes left, then converted a penalty in stoppage time. Then, in the 95th minute, he crossed for Sergi Roberto at the far post. Camp Nou erupted, the greatest comeback in Champions League history. Then Barcelona lost to Juventus in the quarters, 3-0 on aggregate. Gone. Meanwhile, Real Madrid won 12 games without losing and conceded 3 goals across the entire knockout stage. In the final in Cardiff, Mandzukic scored one of the great overhead kicks in final history, hooking the ball over Navas with his back to goal. Madrid didn't flinch. Ronaldo scored twice, 4-1. This campaign contained the most extraordinary night in the competition's modern history. The team that created it didn't win the tournament. The team that did barely noticed. Number 10. 2015. Messi, Suarez, Neymar, all at full force simultaneously. The most devastating attacking unit the game had seen in a generation, all peaking at the same time, all in the same shirt. They beat City in the last 16, PSG in the quarters. Then the semi-finals. First leg at Camp Nou against a Bayern side that had reached the final the previous 2 years. Barcelona won 3-0. Messi was quiet for long stretches, then burst into life in the final 15 minutes, leaving Boateng flat on the floor, chipping Neuer with his weaker foot. His goal that night was the kind that makes you stop and ask what you're watching. The second leg in Munich finished 3-2 to Bayern. It didn't matter. The final in Berlin was more routine. Rakitic inside 4 minutes. Morata equalized 10 minutes into the second half from close range. Suarez put them back in front in the 68th minute. Neymar sealed it deep in injury time. No team that season came close to Barcelona. That's also exactly the problem. Dominance on that scale doesn't leave scars. And without scars, there's nothing to remember. Number 9. 2024. Bellingham had announced himself all season, scoring on his debut, scoring in his first 4 Champions League games, dragging Madrid through moments that had no right to go their way. By the time the semi-finals arrived, the whole of Europe already knew what he was. Then came Bayern. Alphonso Davies curled a stunning strike into the far corner in the 68th minute. Neuer had been outstanding all night. Madrid were going out. Then, in the 88th minute, Joselu, a journeyman striker on loan, a man who had spent time at Stoke City and suffered back-to-back relegations before somehow ending up at Real Madrid, reacted to a Neuer spill and tapped it home. Then scored again from a Rudiger cross in stoppage time. The bench emptied onto the pitch. The Bernabeu lost its mind. The final at Wembley against Dortmund started badly for Madrid. Dortmund were the better side in the first half, missing chances that should have buried the tie. Then Carvajal headed them in front from a Cruz corner. Bellingham threaded the ball through for Vinicius Jr. to seal it. Clinical. One impossible brace from a journeyman. The Joselu moment is genuinely one of the strangest things European football has produced. It just couldn't sustain an entire campaign's worth of aura on its own. Number 8. 2018. Bale came off the bench in Kiev with the game level. Within minutes, he produced a bicycle kick, struck with his back to goal, launched over his own shoulder, that had no right to go in and went in anyway. Technically, it might be the best goal ever scored in a Champions League final. But the full story of that night is harder to untangle. Earlier in the second half, Karius tried to throw the ball out to a teammate with Benzema standing right next to him. Benzema redirected it into the net. Liverpool equalised through Mane. Then Bale's bicycle kick put Madrid back in front. Then, with 7 minutes left, Bale struck a long-range shot straight at Karius, who let it slip through his hands. Liverpool were beaten. And then there was Salah, carried off in the first half with a dislocated shoulder after Ramos dragged him to the ground. A moment that still divides opinions 6 years later. Karius was in tears at the final whistle, 24 years old. It was later revealed he had suffered a concussion during the match. The road there had real moments. Liverpool dismantling City 5-1 on aggregate in the quarters. Roma coming back from 4-1 down against Barcelona to win 3-0 in Rome and go through on away goals. The final will always be defined by the collision of one extraordinary goal and one extraordinary collapse. The best moment of the competition and the most painful, both in the same 90 minutes. Number 7, 2013. For Borussia Dortmund, Lewandowski scored 4 goals against Real Madrid in the semi-final first leg. No striker had ever done that in a Champions League semi. Klopp called it like Robin Hood taking from the rich. Dortmund won 4-1. Ronaldo equalised before half-time, briefly at 1-1, before Lewandowski scored 3 more in the second half. Madrid pulled 2 back in the second leg but fell a goal short. Dortmund were through. The other semi-final that week, Bayern eliminated Barcelona 7-0 on aggregate. Both Spanish giants, both carrying Messi and Ronaldo at their absolute peak, eliminated in the same week by German clubs. Then came the first all-German final at Wembley. But before a ball was kicked, Dortmund had already been living with the knowledge that Götze, their own player, their own academy product, arguably their most talented midfielder, had agreed to join Bayern in the summer. A hamstring injury kept him out entirely, watching from the stands as his future club faced his current one. Mandzukic put Bayern ahead in the 60th minute. Gundogan equalised from the spot. Dortmund were the better side for long stretches. Then, with 1 minute left, Robben received the ball on the edge of the box and drove it past Weidenfeller. A year earlier, Robben had missed the penalty in extra time that could have won Bayern the final against Chelsea, the moment that haunted him all summer. Now, at the same stage, he delivered the defining moment instead. Same competition, same stage, same player on the other side of history.
Number 6, 2016.
Griezmann knocked out Barcelona with both goals in the quarter-final second leg at the Vicente Calderón. His away goal in Munich sent Atletico past Bayern on away goals. Ronaldo scored 16 goals that season. No one came close. But Griezmann eliminated the Giants. He was the tournament's most dangerous operator in the knockouts, arriving at every crucial moment for a side that had no right to be there. The road there had its own drama. In the round of 16 against PSV, the tie went to penalties. Juanfran scored the decisive kick to send Atletico through. The same man would face the same moment again 6 weeks later, and this time he'd hit the post. The final at the San Siro. Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid. Ramos bundled in from close range in the 15th minute, a goal the referee later admitted was offside, but which stood. In the second half, Pepe fouled Torres in the box. Griezmann stepped up, the man who had already missed a penalty against Navas in La Liga that very season. He blasted it off the underside of the crossbar. Carrasco equalised in the 79th minute. Penalties. The first 7 were all scored. Then Juanfran hit the post. Ronaldo stepped up last, told Zidane beforehand to save him for 5th because he'd had a vision he'd score the winner. And he sent Oblak the wrong way. Shirt off, arms out, the offside goal that stood. The crossbar, the post, the vision. Griezmann, the tournament's best player, leaving with nothing, again. Number 5, 2019. It started at the Etihad in a dramatic quarter-final. 4 goals in 11 minutes. City eventually leading and seemingly through in stoppage time when Sterling stabbed the ball home, only for VAR to rule Aguero offside in the build-up. But before that, Llorente had bundled in from a corner. The ball appeared to brush his arm, and VAR let it stand. 2 massive decisions in the same match. Tottenham threw on away goals. City left staring into thin air in disbelief. Then came 2 wild nights, back to back. The most extraordinary 48 hours in Champions League history. Barcelona had beaten Liverpool 3-0 at the Nou Camp. Messi had scored twice, reaching 600 career goals. Liverpool were without Firmino in the first leg, and by the time the second leg came around, they'd lost Salah too. No Salah, no Firmino. Needing 4 goals against the team that had just dismantled them in Spain. Wijnaldum, dropped to the bench by Klopp, furious about it, so angry he later admitted he ignored his manager's tactical instructions when he came on, entered at half-time and scored twice in 122 seconds. Then Alexander-Arnold took a corner so quickly the Barcelona defenders were still walking into position. Origi was there to seal the deal. The stadium shook. Barcelona were gone. 24 hours later, Tottenham, without Harry Kane, 3-0 down on aggregate at half-time in Amsterdam, needed 3 goals against an Ajax side that had already eliminated Real Madrid and Juventus. A young, fearless Dutch team that had been the story of the tournament. Lucas Moura scored 3 in the second half. The third came in the 96th minute. The commentator lost the ability to form complete sentences. An all-English final no one had scripted. The final itself, Liverpool 2, Tottenham 0. A penalty in the second minute and a late Origi goal couldn't match what came before it. Nothing could have. This campaign gave everything in the semi-finals and had nothing left to prove.
Number 4, 2014.
Atletico were seconds from history, but before that, Atletico had arrived in Lisbon having just won their first La Liga title in 18 years. And here they were in the final. They had beaten Chelsea in the semi-finals. Fernando Torres, their former idol, putting Chelsea 1-0 up at Stamford Bridge against his old club in the second leg, only for Atletico to come back and win 3-1. The knife going in from the one player who had left them. In the other semi, Real Madrid had dismantled defending champions Bayern 5-0 on aggregate. The obsession with La Decima, their 10th European title, 12 years in waiting, had consumed the club all season. The destination felt inevitable. What nobody accounted for was how close Atletico came to making it impossible. They'd taken the lead through Godin in the 36th minute and defended it for nearly an hour against Ronaldo, Bale, Benzema, Di Maria. Diego Costa had limped off injured inside the first half. Atletico played most of the final with their striker gone, reshuffling on the fly, holding firm anyway. Simeone's side were about to deliver the most improbable Champions League final victory of the modern era. Into the 93rd minute. From a Modric corner, Ramos rose and headed it in. The psychological damage was total and instant. In extra time, Bale headed in the first, Marcelo drove in the second, Ronaldo converted a penalty for the fourth. 4-1. The scoreline was a lie. This game was decided in one 93rd minute header after 89 minutes of the greatest defensive performance ever produced in a Champions League final. One header. Seconds. That's all that separated Atletico from immortality. Number 3. 2010. Messi scored 12 Champions League goals that season. Before the final, Barcelona had gone to the Bernabeu in the semi-final first leg and dismantled Real Madrid 2-0. Pepe sent off in the 61st minute, Messi scoring twice in the last 15 minutes. His second goal was something else entirely. He received the ball 30 yards out, beat 3 defenders in a straight line, drew Casillas, and rolled it into the far corner. At the Bernabeu, in front of Madrid's supporters, the stadium fell silent. It was that kind of season. Wembley, the final against Manchester United. United had more of the ball early. Hernandez had chances. Pedro put Barcelona ahead in the 27th minute. Rooney equalised 7 minutes later with a curled finish. A genuine moment of quality that briefly suggested this might be a contest. Then Barcelona turned it on. Messi scored the second in the 54th minute. Villa sealed it in the 69th. United managed 1 shot on target the entire game. This was the second time in 3 years Barcelona had beaten United in a Champions League final. The second time Ferguson had watched his team dismantled. And still, somehow, the second time felt worse. Afterwards, Ferguson said it was the greatest team he had ever seen. 50 years in football, every elite side across 6 decades, and still the greatest he had ever seen. He didn't say they were unlucky. He didn't say it was close. He surrendered completely. Other campaigns in this ranking produced chaos, comebacks, moments that defied logic. This one produced something rarer, a level of football so complete it forced the most decorated manager in history to publicly admit he'd never witnessed anything like it. That kind of silence has its own aura.
Number 2, 2012.
Their manager had been sacked in March. Roberto Di Matteo stepped in on an interim basis, with the season already crumbling. Chelsea were 6th in the Premier League, going nowhere domestically. What followed made no sense. They came back from 3-1 down against Napoli. They beat Benfica. Then came the semi-final at Camp Nou. Chelsea had a 1-0 lead from the first leg at Stamford Bridge. Then Barcelona scored twice to go 2-1 up on aggregate. John Terry was sent off in the 37th minute. 10 men facing the greatest club side of their generation in front of 96,000 people. Ramirez, already booked, suspended for the final he was helping to reach, broke clear and chipped Valdez just before half-time, putting Chelsea ahead on away goals. Messi hit the bar with a penalty in the second half. Torres scored on the break in stoppage time to seal it. Then the final in Munich, Bayern's home ground. Their stadium, their city, their crowd. Bayern had 43 shots to Chelsea's 9. Müller headed them in front in the 83rd minute. Drogba rose at the near post in the 88th minute and powered a header past Neuer. Extra time. Drogba fouled Ribéry in the box. Robben, a former Chelsea player, stepped up and Cech saved it. Schweinsteiger hit the post in the shootout. Drogba, the central figure of the Abramovich era, playing his final act in a Chelsea shirt, stepped up last and sent Neuer the wrong way. Cech had spent weeks studying every Bayern penalty since 2007. 64 penalties across 5 seasons, reduced to tendencies and patterns committed to memory. When Schweinsteiger paused in his run-up, Cech already knew. In Munich, in Bayern's own stadium. While the world had already decided, one goalkeeper was in a room somewhere watching penalties from 2007. Number 1, 2022. There is no rational explanation for what Real Madrid did. In September, they lost at home to Sheriff Tiraspol, a club from Moldova, playing in their first ever Champions League campaign. Nobody who watched that night thought they were watching a team capable of what came next. Then the knockout started. Round of 16. PSG, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, the most expensive front three ever assembled. Led 2-0 on aggregate in the second leg at the Bernabeu after Mbappe's 39th minute strike. Madrid needed 3 goals in 50 minutes. Benzema scored a hat-trick in 17 minutes. The first from a Donnarumma error he manufactured with pure pressure. The second, a deflected Modric through ball. The third, an outside-of-the-boot finish that still doesn't look real on replay. PSG were finished. Again. Quarter-finals. Benzema scored a hat-trick in the first leg at Stamford Bridge. A header from a Vinicius cross, a header from a Modric cross, and a shot into an open goal after a Chelsea mistake. Chelsea came back brilliantly in the second leg at the Bernabeu. Mount, Rudiger, Werner put them 4-3 ahead on aggregate with 15 minutes left. The tie was gone. Then Rodrigo volleyed in a Modric cross in the 89th minute. Benzema headed home the winner in extra time. Chelsea were on the floor. Semi-finals. City. Mahrez scored in the 73rd minute to put City 5-3 up on aggregate. Madrid had 17 minutes. Then Rodrigo scored in the 89th minute. Then again seconds later. Then Benzema converted a penalty in extra time. City, one of the greatest club sides ever assembled, were gone. Every team that beat Madrid in a single leg, PSG, Chelsea, City, was eliminated by Madrid over the course of the tie. 3 times behind, 3 comebacks. Something happened that the sport still doesn't understand. The final against Liverpool was almost calm. Vinicius Jr. scoring the only goal, Courtois making save after extraordinary save. Real Madrid had won it, like they often do. They lost to Sheriff Tiraspol in September. They lifted the trophy in May. No campaign in recent memory has produced that feeling. And that feeling, sustained, irrational, impossible to explain, is the definition of aura.